So hi everyone. So this class we're talking about functions. So functions have already been explained in Java. So I'll just be showing you how we do functions in Kotlin too. So like this main block is a function. So if I'm declare function, you start with fun. So it always starts with fun. So that's telling Kotlin that this is a function I want to declare. So fun, let's say function that prints hello world, or let's give it print hello world. So just print 9. I'll go through everything. So this is the function keyword fun. So this is the function name. It could be anything, followed by bracket. Then we have the curly braces. So to use this function, all you have to do is just write out the function inside the main method. So let's do print hello world. I'll run it. So I print hello world to the console. So functions can have parameters. So parameters are what we pass into the function. So they are like defined using what we call Pascal notations, where we have name and the type. So to declare parameter in print hello world, let's say okay, we want it to print a string, not hello world. Let's say we want to print a string in name. So print, let's change print name. So to pass a parameter, like to define a parameter, we use name colon the type. So we want it to be a string. So it will be name colon string. So to print name, we just print my name. So to use this function, we have to pass the argument. So multiple ways of passing the argument. You can pass them as a named argument or as a positional argument. So to pass as a named argument, you use name is equals to Gabriel. Yeah, so as you can see, it prints out this. But position, I mean, based on position, if I have multiple arguments, so you just do this and you run it. You see prints out Gabriel. Okay, so you can pass the multiple parameters. You can have multiple parameters just like we have in Java. So you can pass an integer, you can pass a double height, double. So you can also do age. The next one should be age 61, height 1.85. So we can do print name. Age and height height. Yeah. So my name is Gabriel with H1 height. So you can, these are positional arguments. So you can make them named arguments instead. So instead, in case you don't like pass it in this particular order, because let's say you put 1.85 here and you put 65 here and you run it, to return an error because it's expecting an integer at this point. It's expecting an integer at this point and a double at this point. So automatically it gives you an error. So you to fix that, you can use named. So it'll be like name is equals to this, age is equals to, or let's do height equals to this, then age is equals to this, then you run it. So as you can see, it works despite the fact that it's not in the same arrangement as this, but because we're using the named argument, it will work either ways. So parameters can also have default values. Let's say for this height, in case person did not pass the height, because now assuming I did not put height and I try to run this, it will return an error. No value passed for parameter height. So in case you want an instance where okay, the person is allowed not to put height, you can do height, you can pass the default parameter here, default value here, sorry. So you can put 1.85. So in this case, if height is not passed, it will still run. So it's just assigned it to 1.85. Or let's say I pass the height as 2.0 and run it. See, it overrides the default value. So if there's no default value and you not pass anything to return an error, but if you want that value to not be like compulsory and in case the user passes null and you want to see like work, so you have to pass default value into the function. So this is how you do it. So we can also define functions, single line functions. So let's just, for instance, this, instead of using curly braces, it can be like is equals to this. When we run it, it runs to, because this is a single line function. So assuming this our function has other lines of code inside and we have other operations that we want to perform, we can't use the single line function. We have to use the normal function to run that value. So next we're talking about function return types. So let's say we want to perform an addition, for instance, and write an addition function. Fun addition. I want to add two numbers. I want to add num integer, num2 integer. So just like Java 2, where we have return, the return statement, we can also a function in Kotlin can also return a value. So let's do val a is equals to num1 plus num2. So we can just as well print, oh, sorry, instead of print, return a. So this is just like returning a value from this function, just like we have in Java. So for me to use that value, I can come here and print, let's say, print line is call the function addition. let's add 4 and 5. Um, okay, so you returned an error. So if you notice, we just like kind of run this function the way we run others, but added the return statement. So in Java, if you want a function to return something, instead of using the void function name and your parameter constructors and everything, you have to define the type of value that function is expected to return. So you have a function expected to return an integer, you have your int, function name, then argument and every other thing. So in Kotlin, it works differently. So this function is expected to return an integer. So in Kotlin, everything is colon. Like if you want to find a data type, use a colon. Also, it works with functions too. So you have to do colon int. So this tells Kotlin that okay, with this function, I want it to return an integer instead. So every time I run this, it will return 9,459. So let's say I pass a string here, it will return an error because we're expecting an integer and you're passing a string. So that won't work. So let's return back to normal one. Yeah. So this is what we have for functions. So